This movie doesn't hold up because of dated special effects. To you, maybe, I would clap out a bat on a string. This was inspired by some Insta post saying that Space Jam and Honey I Shrunk the Kids have outdated effects that don't hold up. I'm gonna point out right now, when it comes to special effects, theater proves that you do not need good effects as long as you're willing to act like they're real and tell a fun story with said effects. There was no time in history when anyone watched Space Jam and genuinely believed that Bugs Bunny was on screen with the real people. Nobody believed that, but we had fun with the story anyway because what was happening was fun. It's not about making us believe it, it's about making us have fun with it enough that we don't care that it's not real. This is true for almost any system that involves any form of magic or fantasy. I've warmed up significantly towards the concept of small talk ever since I learned that its sole purpose is to make friendly noises. As long as you smile and nod, people are satisfied. It's just to show that you are nice and there with good intentions. We're small in a big world and have to rely on other people to be decent to us. So we do our little human dance to each other to say, I'm not here to hurt you. Here's something we have in common, like the weather or sports or itchy sweaters. So we both know we're on the same team. We both agree on this basic fact. Like that it's rainy or that being itchy is uncomfortable. And this proves we can get along. I'm being lighthearted and non-threatening right now. Small talk isn't about getting to know the person. It's about agreeing to affirm we're buddies in the universe. I am motivated by wanting the other person to know I am friendly. So I've gotten pretty decent at small talk when I used to hate it. Trips and falls and just don't get up after. You should never create anything with a wide audience in mind. The so-called general audience doesn't exist. It's a fiction made up by advertising executives. Most of the time, great art and literature is made with the interpretation of pleasing no more than 4 or 5 specific perverts in the audience's acquaintance. It's true, actually. The best art usually does come without trying to become popular. Art that's made to be popular usually fails. If you hit a stride and then start working to be popular, it can work pretty well. That's how most franchises go. But it always starts with something ridiculous. Academic dishonesty is not something you can spin as moral. I do not want to share a career field, let alone a social sphere, with a bunch of ChatGPT using butt suckers. You're just scared your diploma is going to devalue. I'm afraid you dumb suckers are going to become my colleagues and drag social services to heck. I'm afraid they'll become scientists and data that lives depend on will turn out to be wrong and people will die. I'm afraid they'll become engineers and sign off on bridge designs that collapse and people will die. I'm afraid they'll become medical professionals who don't know what they're doing and people will die. The assumption that academic dishonesty is okay is rooting the idea that what you're learning to do doesn't matter. Gender envy this, gender envy that. Where are the other sins? Where's gender pride? Where's gender greed, gender gluttony, gender sloth, gender lust, gender wrath? I mean, I imagine gender lust is just being attracted to a gender. Gender greed and probably gender gluttony, or how many non-binaries just collect them gender goblin style. Gender pride, you see it all the time in Pride Month. You're proud of your new gender and good for you. Gender sloth, I guess that would be the sisses of like they're just chill about it. Gender wrath, I'm gonna call that sexism. I'd say that's where that fits. This makes sense to me. Let me know if you disagree or agree with that one, because I am purely talking out my butt with that. You fought well. Aww. Imagine a big Rube Goldberg machine just out of frame that the cat set off and jumped on the end of the sword just to say that. Of course, it starts with the cat knocking something off a table. Your timeline cleanse for today is the very real existence of the Japanese snow fairy. Please look at this bird. Please look at this beautiful, dumb, ridiculous, perfect bird. Look at it. Look at it and its adorable head tilts. Just look at these fluffy motherfrickers. I want 10 of them. On the surface level, it may feel like superhero and palette swap supervillain and magical girl and dark magical girl are basically the same trope. But I want you to try and picture a magical girl / dark magical girl rivalry that has the same essential dynamic as Barry Allen and Edvard Thwing. I probably mispronounced his name because I'm used to calling him Reverse Flash, and that's fair, but like, I think that's more of an execution thing, because I can't think of a lot of villains that reach quite the extent of Flash and Reverse Flash level of spite. Like, even someone like Joker, who lives to be spiteful of Batman, it's still not as spiteful. Like, Reverse Flash is just the pinnacle of that trope in my eyes. I'm sure someone's going to tell me I'm wrong and give me a new show or book or whatever to read that I'll love, but like, as far as I'm aware right now, Reverse Flash is the king of that trope. Yeah, sex is fine and all, I guess, but have you ever had someone tell you that you're doing a good job? Yeah, fun times is fine and all, I guess, but have you ever had someone tell you that you're doing a good job? It pains me greatly that if Blake and Catherine were real, I'd be allergic to them. I have to take Benadryl and Catherine just to get close to them. I probably mispronounced that second one because I've never seen it before, but I want to point out, Blake has very low fur. It is just the ears and the eyes for her, and I'm pretty sure no one's allergic to cat eyes. Catra is like full-blown furry though, so you would probably have the same allergies, but that raises an interesting question I've never considered before. In a world of furries, if you're sick, or not sick, sorry, if you're allergic to said animal, does that apply, and how do you deal with that? Like, could you imagine being a cat person, and then like your best friend or someone who you truly love is just allergic to cats? Like, what do you do in that case? How does that work? Is it just like someone who has a pet cat, they would just take it and roll with it anyway? Because that sounds oddly romantic now that I'm thinking about it. Despite its flaws, I still love Tumblr. Swear, 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 and swear, 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 swear. What other website could you post this on? I'm adding this because I think it's a good stance on part of why I love Tumblr so much. And it is a very good example of how free speech applies. But also I'm on YouTube, so I have to censor all the swears. The swears don't mean anything in this case, it's just the fact that those swears can be said. Swears and slurs, mind you. Reese's Peanut Butter Cups Werewolf Tracks Milk Chocolate with Vanilla Flavored Cream. Hey guys, question. Why does the werewolf themed Reese's got a white topping? Moon. Hey everyone, I got so distracted by the collective werewolf boyfriend pulling out that I forgot about a vital part of werewolf lore. I'm gonna be honest here, my expect clicked it immediately. I didn't even think about that, but once you said it, I realized, oh dear. It's one of those innuendos I don't get until someone says it, and I'm like, oh yeah, I guess it does work that way too. Power scaling is BS. Don't call Wispy Woods frickin' low complex multiverse level or whatever the frick, because he can fight Kirby and maybe win. Thus, like, characters have planet busting potential because character 1 beat character 2, who beat character 3, who destroyed a planet kind of. Their scaling system is a wonky mishmash of Dragon Ball's power system and DC's multiverse. Dimensions are the end-all be-all of versus battle arguments, and any character could win via outsmarting is basically ignored. I think my favorite example of this is how Goku is an incredibly strong person, like comedically so, and yeah, he absolutely would be able to beat the crud out of Light from Death Note, but also, he has died to heart attacks before, and no amount of his training has solved that problem. And at the end of the day, Goku is dumb enough to let Light know his full name and let him wait the full time for the Death Note to take effect, just for a good fight. As long as Light just claims, this will make me immensely stronger with the same power as you, or something around those lines, which Light is strong enough to make that lie, or smart enough at least, Goku will die. And funny enough, a lot of Goku's friends who are weaker than him will not make that mistake. It's just an easy example because of how obvious this weakness to strength is, but yeah, usually outsmarting and very specific abilities do make a world of difference. Especially when certain abilities are non-existent in that person's world. They will not enter that fight ready for those abilities. They just won't. Because they won't know that can be done. Anyone who doesn't share a world with Kirby has no idea that this cute little pink blob will suck them up and take their power. They are not ready for that, and very few worlds are ready with something equal to it. The element of surprise alone changes half the battles. The scenario changes the battles, wherein their story changes the battles because most characters grow and get stronger, and smarter for that matter. And at the end of the day, it all comes down to whatever the writer says happens. Like, yeah, it's nicer if the continuity makes sense for power scaling, but at the end of the day, the writer decides who wins. Sonic is absurdly fast, but in the first game, Eggman runs faster than him for some reason and he can't catch up. Sauce and protein, veg and rice. Feels so filling, tastes so nice. Veg and protein, rice and sauce. Helps bring back what once was lost. Adding shadow band to the big list of words that don't mean anything anymore. Progression of definitions, as far as I can tell. A moderator has banned me without deleting my account. I can post, but my posts are totally invisible to everyone but myself. I can't see my profile when I search my username. I speculate that my posts are being downranked by an unknowable algorithm. My posts aren't getting as much engagement as I think they should. Somewhere along the way here, there's also conspiracy. What I said upsets people so much that they blocked me, instead of just the fact that I'm completely insane so no one is engaging. It does make me a bit mad when I look up recommendations for horror manga and the list is like Chainsaw Man, Hellsing. Like, buddy, that is action. There's a difference between Alien 1 and 2. Come on! I think this is more a problem of how we define stories. Like, a shocking amount of people think that if there's horrifying moments in it where people are powerless, it can't be considered action. I disagree with that, but I know people who don't. I know people who do believe it. I think that enough stories struggle to fit into a genre because, well, frankly, they defy their own genres. And I think that's a good thing, but it makes categorizing it a pain in the neck, and that's how you end up with stuff like this that clearly does not line up. The lion does not concern himself with what his art looks like when the canvas is flipped. I say stuff. It's been a rough weekend. Now I'm a white girl waits at a local Mexican restaurant. I hate it when your parents are like, I know you better than you know yourself. Like, no, you don't. Like, oh, you're an expert on the inner machinations of my psyche? Name 3 of my top 10 existential dreads. But I raised you. Yeah, and the only version of me that you know is one I carefully crafted so that you wouldn't ask me questions because it became obvious early on you couldn't handle the honest answers. Finding a good song about asexuality and asexual experience is even more difficult than finding a needle in a haystack. There's a really good song, Yellow Rose I think is its name, or My Yellow Roses, something on those lines. I'll edit it onto the screen so you can see the proper thing. It's a very cute song about how you live like that and how it is. And you know what? I think it's a really good one. But also, it's the only one I think I've ever heard that actually covers asexuality and asexual experience. So, you know, I can't really vouch for that. I would love some more suggestions, though. Third took Groot as an elective, which means growing up, he was a rare combination of nerd and jock. And I don't know why people are surprised. I mean, the boy talks astrophysics with Bruce 7 PhDs banner like it's nothing. And when he drops on Earth, which clique does he immediately join? Not S.H.I.E.L.D., not the Avengers. Some podunk star scientist out in the middle of nowhere on an extended camping trip like, while Loki was painting his nails and matching his cufflinks, Thor was studying foreign languages and he bench pressed Heimdall. Thor isn't your garden variety jock, he's a bookworm jock. Easily found stargazing or doodling in his moleskin journal. Loki, why would you want to talk to sentient trees? Thor, why wouldn't you? They're sentient trees. Captain America, so do any Avengers have any pressing business? Blade, are any of you motherfuckers gonna help me fight the vampires? Please, there are so many. No, we are not. It's the same thing in the comics, just no one cares to help Blade. It's just, he's on his own. And I'm pretty sure he prefers it that way, but still, he's on his own. Constantly torn between if I show symptoms, I'm real and valid, and I can't show any symptoms because then I'll be a bother, so I have to internalize everything. Don't forget, if I can control my symptoms, they are still valid. And if I show symptoms, I'm manipulating the people around me. Also, if I don't show symptoms at any given moment, I'm lying about having a mental illness and everything is an overreaction. People ask questions like, do trans men hold privilege over cis women? All I can think is of that post where OP says, this is how you think privilege works, and it's a Pokemon damage type effectiveness chart. Only thing I know for certain is that if Breaking Bad took place during modern times, Jesse would use his cash to buy a drone, and there would have been a sick butt sequence filmed from the drone perspective, and one episode's cold open would have been all scary and sinister, and it would end with an ominous shot of the drone lying all crushed and fricked up on the floor, implying harm done to Jesse. And it would be really, really sad. I actually completely agree. Nowadays we are obsessed with drone sequences, and Jesse absolutely would have bought a drone. Weird how no one ever comments on the absence of smells unprompted. The note just isn't a topic of conversation unless it's urgent, huh? It's dark in here. Normal, regular observation. Finally some quiet, relatable exclamation. Doesn't smell like anything in here. Absolutely deranged sentence. Especially because dark, quiet places usually have smell. You ever smell mothballs? I'm sorry, but that stuff smells. It's a dank smell, and it's kind of hard to pick up on if you ignore it, but it's there. Mad Meow Meow breaking into Elfie's lab to steal her stuff. Me witnessing horrors beyond my comprehension? I don't get it. You know, we need more characters that react that way to horrors beyond their comprehension. They're beyond your comprehension. You should not understand them. You should just be confused. And like many people who are confused, you just walk away and move on. I just found some on my computer and I have no memory of making it. I stand by it though. Mr. the Frog, we all agreed the East India Company is not people. I love that I gave zero context for this and 700 people still went, yeah, that's a vibe. Well, now we have 22.6 thousand notes, so quite a lot of those people are definitely vibing with it, including me. Special thanks to Willow, our glass passenger.